Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 1 p.m. and I'm opening this meeting of the Platting Board. Madam Secretary, the roll, please.
Platting member Liebing. Here. Platting member Salmon. Here. Platting member Trexler.
Present.
Platting member Burtz.
Present.
Platting member Halford. Let's see. Platting members that are absent and excused is Platting member Shavetta, and our District 3 seat is vacant. Platting members that are absent today is Platting member Krieger. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any changes or objections to today's agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve today's agenda? Thank you, Mr. Liebing. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Salmon. Are there any changes or objections to the minutes from June 5th meeting? Seeing Ms. Salmon.
I wanted to clarify on my comment, and it probably sounds a lot nicer or whatever than I meant it, but I wanted to clarify, right? I do enjoy the discussion and the ability to answer the questions that come at us from the public, but I think my comment was trying to get that to the appropriate part of the meeting, if that makes sense, where a lot of times we're getting those rapid fire questions. I felt like the public, sometimes we're trying to answer those questions during their 3 minutes. And I think that's what my comment was more geared towards, a quick, bear with us, there'll be a motion and discussion. And I kind of try to take some notes and ask those questions during discussion, but that was my comment, right? Like, I enjoy it, but I think we're working towards getting it to the right part of the meeting. So that was, I don't know how you want to sum that up, but that was my only objection to the minutes.
Okay. You need to change that before I can approve the minutes, or how does that work?
Yeah, we can amend it and bring it back next meeting.
So for now, just going to approve the minutes.
We will, through the chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. We will, we'll amend that and bring it to the next meeting for approval.
Wonderful. Yeah, something just the effect of maybe during the motion and discussion of the board or something to
Excellent.
that effect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to public testimony. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to open up public testimony for 3 minutes for persons to be heard about something that is not scheduled for the public hearing. Are there any persons present to be heard? Is there anyone online?
There is nobody online.
Okay, I'm going to close public testimony. There's no unfinished business, no reconsideration or appeals. So today's first hearing is on Forest Song Acres. The request is to create 7 lots from the northwest quarter, northeast quarter, Bradley Lake subdivision, plat number 63-7, to be known as Forest Song Acres, containing 10 acres plus or minus. The property is located north and west of the South Glen Highway, south of Canoe Lake, and directly north of East Bradley Lake Avenue. Within the northeast quarter section 24, Township 17 North, Range 01 East, Seward Meridian, Alaska, and the Gateway Community Council and Assembly District Number 2. Ex parte. To the board, do you or any member of your immediate family have a substantial financial interest in any property affected by this decision, or will you recognize a foreseeable profit as a result of this decision? Seeing none, Have you received or otherwise engaged in ex parte contact with the applicant, other parties interested in the application, or members of the public concerning the application or issues presented in this application, either before the application or during any period of time the matter is submitted for decision, outside of the public process provided by the borough? Seeing none. Are you able to be impartial in this decision? Seeing an affirmative. Okay. Madam Clerk, the mailing report, please.
Yes, there was 45 public notices mailed May 27th, 2025.
Thank you. Staff report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The proposed Forest Song Acres subdivision would create 7 lots ranging in size between 1 to 2 acres. Access for the proposed lots is from East Bradley Lake Avenue, South Green Jade Place, and South Killarney Drive, all of which are borough-maintained roads. An as-built was submitted as part of the proposed subdivision and can be seen on exhibit page 6. Based on the submitted as-built, there were several setback violations or encroachments that exist or would exist due to the proposed design. All structures currently in violation or that would be by this creation would need to be removed or relocated prior to recordation. This is seen at recommendation number 4. An average daily traffic calculation was supplied. This is seen at exhibit page 13. Based on the supplied ADT, existing access roads currently meet the requirements for the projected traffic. A geotechnical report was supplied by Curtis Holler, a registered professional engineer. Curtis Holler notes that based on the available soils, water table information, topography, borough code requirements, and observations at the site, that the proposed 7 new lots will each contain over 10,000 square feet of contiguous usable septic area and an additional 10,000 square feet of building area. A section line easement determination was supplied and can be seen at exhibit pages 14 through 20. The Borough Department of Public Works was originally requesting a revised ADT. After that initial comment, they received the updated ADT and had no further comments or conditions. The Development Services Department notes that proposed Lot 7 will have setback violations if the shed and connex remain where they are. Planning staff notes that recommendation number 4 will require these to be moved. There were 3 comments received from the public in response to the notice of public hearing. 1 is in the staff report, and 2 were received after the report was written. These can be found in your handout packet. All 3 comments had concerns, with 1 also being an objection to the proposed design. The concerns and objections were based on potential impact on the water table, local ecology and wildlife, increased dust due to clearing of the land, and added strain on the road systems, what the property would be zoned for, as well as concerns about well and septic separation. In conclusion, the preliminary plat of Forest Song Acres is consistent with state statutes and borough code. There were no objections received from any federal, state agencies, borough departments, or utilities. At the time the staff report was written, there was 1 comment received from the public with concerns and objections. After the report was written, there were 2 comments received with concerns. Based on the supplied geotechnical report, all lots will have sufficient usable area and septic, usable building and septic area. All lots have the required legal physical access, and all lots will have the minimum required frontage. Planning staff recommends approval of the proposed Forest Song Acres with 6 findings of fact and 7 recommendations of conditions of approval.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions from the board?
I had a question. I don't know if it's appropriate to do this. Okay. Sorry. I had a question regarding the as-built survey on Lot 6, where there is several structures located. It also appears that there is a well that is pretty much on a lot line or very, very close to a lot line. I wasn't sure if that created an issue once the lot lines are drawn. Obviously, there is no lot line there now. But I didn't know if having a well on a that, I don't know if there's a setback requirement for a well, I guess is my question to you.
The well wouldn't have a setback as long as it's not encroaching.
Okay. And it's not detailed enough on the as-built to know for sure, but it's very close to a lot line.
The surveyor might be able to more clearly answer that when he gets up.
Thank you, Mr. Liebing. Is there any other questions for staff? Seeing none, would the petitioner or the petitioner's representative like to speak now? No? Okay. I'm going to open for public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this? Yeah, you can come forward. Just state your name and write your name in the book for us, please.
Okay. Okay. Hi.
There you go. Hi.
My name is Janelle Gagnon, and I live at 10350 East Bradley Lake Avenue. So my home is pretty much directly across from where this subdivision would be. And I've been gone for the last 3 weeks. So I came home 2 days ago to the letter that was sent out to, I believe, probably everybody in the neighborhood regarding this proposed plan. And so I haven't had enough time to really thoroughly research it. I was happy to hear what some of the comments were that had been written in from others with concerns about excessive dust and traffic and what might be, how the water table might be affected, ecological concerns, all of that. I recognize that the valley is growing, that there is a great need for additional housing, and I don't know what kind of housing is proposed to be built in that area, if it's affordable housing. I didn't see anything in the letter that we received that would talk about what kind of housing that would be. And that part doesn't mean so much to me. I know that some people might have concerns about what kind of, who the proposed demographic would be. That's not necessarily a concern of mine, but I do worry about the traffic. I've seen in the last 9 years that we've lived there that traffic has increased over the years for use of recreation purposes. There's a lot of different lakes around there. So just, my hope would be that people would not be able to enter that subdivision through Bradley Lake, but rather would have to turn onto Jade Green and enter off of Jade Green. Or I believe when you go up Jade Green, I believe it's Killarney. The street signs are actually, since I've lived there, they've been not turned the right direction, so I'm not sure which one is which, to be honest. But I think it's Jade Green. There are, in the houses on either side of me, my neighbors, there are young children. So that's another concern where traffic is concerned. And currently they really enjoy being able to ride their bikes and not having to worry as much about, traffic that would increase if there was the subdivision there. It does seem like the houses are in there pretty tight. My hope would be that if these are dwellings that are intended for families, that there would be maybe one of those lots could be used for either a communal green space for gardening or some sort of recreational space if children might be living in there, so that it's a little bit more contained. Trying to think off the top of my head. And just, I guess, to acknowledge that looking at the way that the map is drawn, it is that the neighborhood is going to change, and I think that happens. Things evolve, but it's nothing like what the rest of the neighborhood looks right now. There's a lot of space between the houses. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone online?
There's nobody online.
No one online. Okay, so I'm closing public testimony. Gary.
Been here before. Gary LaRusso representing the petitioner, which is an estate, but still a petitioner. Condition of approval look good. I think we've addressed all the concerns that were raised by TPW. For the public, Gagnon? Gagnon, okay. Yeah, that's, platting puts lines on a map, they don't put housing in, so, you know. Sorry, can you say that again? Platting, this process puts lines on the map. Oh, okay. It doesn't create, right, so. Other than that, I'll take questions if anyone has any. Oh, you had a question on the well?
Yeah, I was curious about the well that was
There's
appeared
no
to be very
set,
close.
there's no borough setbacks to wells. The only thing with wells is you know, you have to be 100 feet from a septic system, and the well, it is close to the line, but it's not on the line. Yeah.
Any other questions? Ms. Salmon?
I was just gonna ask about the adjoiner buildings, be like the northwest corner.
Yes.
Is that's their problem, right? Or
They've said they were going to move they're in trespass. Their driveway's in trespass as well.
yeah,
But they seem to be really nice people, and they said they would move the structure. So
okay.
Yeah.
And that would be something if somebody were to purchase lot one and that wouldn't have been done.
it can't record without that's a condition.
Okay, and that was kind of my question, is that has to be moved as part of the condition?
That's
Okay.
correct, because it also creates a setback violation,
Okay,
because it's actually on the property line.
yeah, okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you, Gary. Can I get a motion from the board?
Yes, I move to approve the preliminary plat of 4 Song Acres, Section 24, Township 17 North, Range 01 East, Seward Meridian, Alaska, contingent upon the staff recommendations 1 through 7.
Thank you, Mr. Levin. Can I get a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Salmon. Discussions from the board? Any discussion? Ms. Salmon?
If I could, and I don't know if we can get an answer here, but we do get a lot of just kind of respond to the public requests for info on the water rights or water tables and wells and the worry of less production. I don't know that state of Alaska has a remedy for that. We're not like a water rights state, I don't think. And I'm like pulling from my memory bank and like the ag board or something, but I think if you can do anything, I think you have to register your well with the state of Alaska. And then if there is like an impact later, you might fight about it or something. I don't know that. I was just wondering if anybody else did.
Through the chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is Fred Wagner, Platting Officer. Yet, the Borough Code does not contemplate water. You're right to assume it's a DNR, it's a Department of Natural or ADEC function, and the well would be registered. People obtain their water rights, and that's how you're allowed to keep having your wells but our code does not contemplate water.
Gotcha. So not something this board or borough looks at, but it is something the public could go to ADEC and learn more and potentially like register their well, I think, if it's a private well. And that's at least, like, I think that's like as far of protection that Alaska even affords. I don't know 100%, but I hope that's helpful. And then I think you had answered the question on what to expect in that subdivision comes later. Yeah, so that's all I had, I think.
Thank you, Ms. Salmon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to approving this? Okay, the motion passes. Next up, we have Bear Street Agape. Their request is to vacate the right-of-way for East Bear Cub Circle, eliminate the common lot lines between lots 17A, 17B, 16A, and 16B, and eliminate the screening easement between lots 16A and 16B. Block 2, Barry's Acres, number 2, subdivision, plat number 84-142, to be known as Bear Street Agape, containing 4.10 acres plus or minus. The property is located directly east of North Bear Street and directly north of East Bogard Road within the southwest quarter section 28, Township 18 North, Range 01 East, Seward Meridian, Alaska, in the North Lakes Community Council and Assembly District Number 6. Madam Clerk, the mailings? Oh, got ahead of myself. To the board, do you or any member of your immediate family have a substantial financial interest in any property affected by this decision, or will you recognize a foreseeable profit as a result of this decision? Seeing none, have you received or otherwise engaged in ex parte contact with the applicant, other parties interested in the application, or members of the public concerning the application or issues presented in this application, either before the application or during any period of time the matter is submitted for decision outside of the public process provided by the borough? Seeing a negative, are you able to be impartial in this decision? Seeing an affirmative, Madam Clerk, the mailings, please.
There was 123 public notices mailed May 27th, 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chris Curlin, Platting staff. North Bear Cub Court is no longer needed as designed. The petitioner owns all lots around the cul-de-sac. The petitioner has proposed granting a right-of-way along the north border of lots 16 and 17A. Pursuant to MSB 43-1535B, a dedication to public use of land interest may be vacated if the dedication is no longer necessary for present or future use. The Platting Board shall review applications for vacations as follows. 1, the Platting Board shall ordinarily approve vacation of public rights-of-way if the right-of-way is not being used, a road is impossible or impractical to construct, and alternative access has been provided. Comments received were as follows. ADOT and PF commented to add a plat note stating no direct access to Bogard Road, which is condition number 3. MSB PD&E recommends Bear Cub Court be decertified and removed from the RSA maintenance contract. This is condition number 6. PD&E also states a plat provided dedicates a 50-foot public use easement. PD&E would support a 60-foot public use easement dedication. This is condition number 5. MSB Permit Center provided general information concerning encroachments and cluster box locations. Instar had no comments. GCI will maintain their easements. MTA and MEA did not reply. At the time this report was written, there were no objections from any agency, department, or the public. Late comments received, if any, will be in the handouts. Staff recommends approval based on these 6 findings of fact and 9 conditions of approval, with number 5 being changed to the north boundary of the proposed lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curling. With the petitioner, no, okay. I'm going to open for public hearing. Is anyone present that would like to testify?
Good afternoon. My name is Rod Hanson. No relation to the surveyor who's working on this project. I'm with the North Lakes Community Council, and I'm here representing the council this afternoon, and we do object to approval today, not object to eventual approval, but as it currently is laid out, we do object. As you know, the Mat-Su Assembly is in the process of reviewing the Bogard-Selton Corridor Access Management Plan, or CAMP, and they're reviewing that for adoption. They're in the midst of their deliberations now, and the ordinance, as of 2 days ago, they continued the discussion to August 5th for final approval. In the existing version of CAMP that they are reviewing, a major principle is the elimination of driveways onto Bogard Road. There are a few properties just to the east of Agape whose driveways are proposed for elimination. The current documented recommendation in the plan is to extend East Bear Cub Court to the east and provide a connection to North Bear Street for those properties. At the Assembly meeting 2 days ago, they approved an amendment that would result in a frontage road just to the north of Bogard Road from North Bear Street to the east over to North Grayling Street. This would likely require the acquisition of right-of-way parallel to and just north of Bogard Road, as opposed to right-of-way across the northern part of the lots of the future lot. Lost my place here. To support the principles of CAMP, the borough should make a deal with the Gape property owner to dedicate right-of-way along that southern boundary of their property in exchange for vacating the East Bear Cub Court right-of-way. A decision on this platting action should be postponed until the Borough Assembly completes their adoption of the Corridor Access Management Plan and until the Borough PD&E and planning staff have an opportunity to adjust their recommendations with full knowledge of the content of the approved CAMP. The conclusion that alternative access has been provided is kind of narrowly accurate to a Gape property, but access is needed for those properties to the east. There should be no rush to take action on this plat. The property owner owns all of the lots now anyway. The Borough Planning Department has committed to considering the contents of CAMP for decision-making on development and roadway decisions along the Bogard corridor. In their comments in the staff report, they point out that alternate right-of-way should be provided, but my point is I think the wrong right-of-way is contemplated. Plat approval should not be advanced to the Assembly without the Platting Board addressing a more specifically recommendations for right-of-way acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Is there anyone else that would like to testify? Is there anyone online? Thank you. So I'm closing public hearing. Mr. Hanson.
Good afternoon, Craig Hansen, representing the petitioner Agape Fellowship. The point brought up by Mr. Hansen is certainly a pertinent point. The reality is this, that easement across the north side was something that was requested by the borough. Perhaps if, at this point, maybe Fred could elaborate upon that a little bit, it was brought to the petitioner without being brought to me, so I never was even in on the discussion. If there's a reason to not put it across the south, I don't know what it would be. And with regards to just changing it at this instant, the petitioner's not here, and I would need to talk to him in case there's something that I didn't know about. And beyond that, condition of approval, everything was just fine.
Mr. Wagner?
Was there a question?
That question being why they wanted it on the north side instead of on the south side, which did seem more logical.
This was requested before the Assembly meeting as well, but there are some there's some problems with trying to run a frontage road along the front side. Most of the wells and septics are along that front side. If you drive down that stretch of road, you'll see several wells right adjacent to the road. So you'd have to decommission wells, re-drill wells for each of the properties. I don't know that this project will go forward or not. The planning staff reached out after they received their request for comments to the petitioner, and they were going to object to the vacation because there was a plan to connect to Bear Street. We have or Bear Cub Court, excuse me. There is the plan that's there. So they wanted something as equal or better in place of it. They figured getting it along the north side. We discussed with them what it would look like. And in order to connect, we figured they thought if they get the north side, they'll worry out through the right-of-way acquisition process how they'll connect to it. If they do go to the south side, then this would also be it would be eligible to be vacated, and they could probably negotiate that with the petitioners at the time, the landowners.
I guess at this point in time, I would just say from hearing from Mr. Hanson, it sounds that right of way for a frontage road is indeed in motion with the state. And I don't think we'd be remiss to add a 60 foot to the north while there's an impending 60 foot to the south. So my petitioner would end up with 60 feet on the north and 60 feet on the south, only one of which is needed.
I think that the thought was to come up, the original plan was to come in diagonally through from lot 15, come straight over from in front of theirs, and then angle up to go into where Bear Cub Court is right now. And that, they of course didn't like that plan because they want to use that area for parking. And so they reached out, they spoke with the petitioner, and the petitioner offered to do it on the north side. And then the borough could figure out how they would get to it through the right-of-way acquisition process.
Are you familiar with the information that Mr. Hanson presented regarding the frontage road?
This is the first I'd heard of it. I didn't attend the assembly meeting. I saw that the approval was postponed until August 5th. So I didn't know I didn't listen to the recording. I just read the staff reports.
If we approve with a 60 foot on the north, tell me a little bit about the process for removing that if they came through with the frontage road on the south.
Would be what?
Would we simply have to come back before the platting board to get it removed on the north?
Yes, I imagine it would have to come back to the planning board in some way, shape, or
Could we instead write a note that says, in the event that a frontage road is dedicated on the south side, that on the north side would be vacated? Much like a temporary cul-de-sac?
I don't believe that would be appropriate.
Okay, I guess, representing the client, I guess I would say that we would not agree to the conditions of approval. We would request to extend it, and unless you're willing to just remove the requirement for the 60 foot on the north, which I don't expect would happen, and we could postpone this until we can get clarification as to whether or not that 60 foot on the south side is actually going to go through.
That would, that's within the board's purview. We would have to reopen the public hearing and leave it open. We would have to continue though to a date specific. We can't do open-ended continuations anymore.
That's fine. What was that? You mentioned in August.
August 5th.
In August.
Yes, I believe it was postponed until the August 5th meeting, 8/5. So let's see, what would be our
August 17th.
Our next meeting after that would be August 17th. Would you like to continue to that?
I'd like to
if we need
continue
to continue further, we can keep doing the continuation game.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson.
Do you need a motion from the board to table this until
We
the August?
will need a motion for continuation.
I-
But we need to close his period and then we can do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
You can entertain them. Yeah, we just leave the public hearing. We're going to reopen the public hearing and leave it open.
so do I do that?
Do that now.
Okay.
Before we actually.
Okay, so I'm reopening public hearing. Mr. Hanson, would you like to, not you, the other one, would you like to speak again? No? Okay. And no one's online, so I'm leaving public hearing open. And now I would entertain a motion to continue.
Madam Chair, I move that the consideration of the Bear Street Gape be left open and continued at our August 17th meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Leving. Can I get a second?
Quickly, the 17th, I think, is a Sunday. I think our meeting after the 5th would be the 14th.
We have a meeting on the 7th.
Oh, that's right, the 21st. You're right. So
Are we at the 21st? 21st. Okay. Okay, until August 21st. Can I get a second? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Salmon. Okay, any discussion? Any objection? Okay, the meeting will be continued, this hearing will be continued until August 17th. Or 21st, excuse me, August 21st. Okay. So next up, we have Utopia View 2. The request is to create 42 lots and internal roads from Tract A, Utopia View subdivision, Plat 2023-129, to be known as Utopia View 2, containing 62.05 acres plus or minus. The plat is located directly west of North Utopia View Circle, north of West Wintergreen Drive, west of Church Road, and south of West Spruce Avenue, located within the Northwest Quarter Section 6, Township 17 North, Range 01 West, Seward Meridian, Alaska, and in Assembly District number 007. Ex parte to the board. Do you or any member of your immediate family have a substantial financial interest in any property affected by this decision, or will you recognize a foreseeable profit as a result of this decision? Seeing none. Have you received or otherwise engaged in ex parte contact with the applicant, other parties interested in the application, or members of the public concerning the application or issues presented in this application, either before the application or during any period of time the matter is submitted for decision outside of the public process provided by the borough? Seeing none, are you able to be impartial in this decision? Seeing an affirmative, Madam Secretary, the mailings, please.
Yes, there was 195 public notices mailed May 27th, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Matthew Goddard, Platting Technician. The proposed Utopia View 2 subdivision is creating 42 lots and one remainder tract. Access for the proposed subdivision is from North Utopia View Circle and North Jack Nicholas Drive. North Utopia View Circle is a privately maintained road, whereas North Jack Nicholas Drive is a City of Wasilla owned and maintained road. The petitioner is proposing the dedication and construction of internal streets to serve as access to all proposed lots. Internal streets will need to be constructed to Borough Street standards as seen at recommendation number 4. Based on the supplied average daily traffic calculation, the City of Wasilla has stated that upgrades will be required for North Jack Nicholas Drive. The ADT can be seen at exhibit page 154 and 155. The petitioner will need to coordinate with the City of Wasilla for any required improvements to their roads. City of Wasilla road sign-off will be required prior to recordation. This is at recommendation number 5. A geotechnical report was supplied by Robert Walden, a registered professional engineer, pursuant to Title 43 code requirements. This is at exhibit page 6 through 65. In the supplied report, Robert Walden notes that regrading will be required for multiple lots to meet usable area requirements. An updated geotechnical report will be required once all regrading has been completed, certifying that all lots being created will meet the minimum area requirements as seen in Borough Title Code 4320-281 area. This is at recommendation number 6. A drainage report was submitted pursuant to the 2022 subdivision construction manual and is at exhibit pages 66 through 153. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineer notes that the property contains 2 areas mapped by the borough as wetlands, but they do not appear to be jurisdictional wetlands. That's not an official determination, but more advisory. The Matsu Borough Department of Public Works has the following comments. The soils report appears to be incomplete. One of the supplied test holes, the test hole number 211, 14, 23, 24, and 41 did not contain a sieve analysis. And the test holes shown on the test hole location map, test holes number 1, 12, 26, 28, 31, 36, and 40 did not have test hole data. According to the test hole log for test hole 35, groundwater seeps were found at 7 feet below ground on April 28, 2021. Per 432281A1A, where groundwater is encountered at 10 feet or less below the surface, the seasonal subsurface water is to be determined between May 1st and October 30th. PD&E recommends adding a condition of approval to submit a complete soils report containing all necessary and pertinent information after regrading has been completed. This is seen at recommendation number 6. PD&E further notes that the submitted ADT estimate shows potential as high as 1,300 on Jack Nicholas Drive. This is over the allowed traffic volume for a local road according to the 2022 SCM. Since this is a City of Wasilla owned and maintained road, the developer should coordinate with the city to determine if this is allowable and to determine what upgrades or traffic mitigation would be needed to meet their requirements. This is at recommendation number 5. Per PD&E, the extension of Jack Nicholas Drive, the extension of Utopia View Circle, Joseph Drive, and Jimmy's Way will need to be constructed to residential subcollector standards. The remaining cul-de-sac roads should be constructed to residential street standards. The proposed temporary cul-de-sac at the southern end of North Jimmy's Way will need to be moved south to provide frontage for proposed Track B. This is at recommendation number 4. A permanent turnaround is required at the end of Utopia View Circle within the RSA 27 boundary. Platting staff notes that an updated agenda plat was submitted showing the dedication of that cul-de-sac, and this can be seen in your handouts. The City of Wasilla comments are at exhibit pages 61 through 66 and are as follows. The drainage report is important to the city, and the system should be built to prevent drainage issues within the city. It does not appear that the impacts to the existing neighborhood have been adequately addressed. North Jack Nicholas Drive will need to be upgraded due to the increased traffic. For North Jack Nicholas Drive, the city will require certification to residential collector to match Ben Hogan Avenue. If certification to residential collector is not possible due to right-of-way width or geometry, then the applicant may propose other traffic mitigation measures to be approved by the City of Wasilla Public Works Department. This is seen at recommendation number 5. Road service area number 27, Meadow Lake, suggests altering the design to allow for connectivity to adjacent parcels for future connectivity. Cul-de-sacs are more difficult to maintain. This is still the RSA. They suggest that snow storage pockets be granted on each cul-de-sac for drainage. The Meadow Lakes Community Council comments are at exhibit page 70, and they would like to see additional roads with temporary turnarounds to the north and south sides for future development and connectivity. Their key concerns are emergency vehicle access, snow plowing efficiency, and future development in the area. 2 comments were received from the public in response to the notice of public hearing. One is in the report with objections due to a lack of additional roadway outlet for the subdivision. Platting staff would like to note that finding of fact number 6 states that there were no objections. This was an error on my write-up. It should read that there was 1 objection received from the public at the time the staff report was written. The second comment was received after the staff report was written and is in your handout. This comment contains concerns and objections due to access issues, water supply, and construction traffic. NSTAR notes that there's an existing 15-foot wide natural gas easement and requests it be shown. Platting staff notes that all recorded easements will be shown on the final plat. In conclusion, the preliminary plat of Utopia View 2 is consistent with Alaska statutes and Borough Code. There were no objections from any federal or state agencies, borough departments, the city of Wasilla, or utilities. Legal and physical access will exist once all road construction and upgrades have been completed. Frontage will exist. At the time the staff report was written, there was one objection received from the public in the response to the notice of public hearing. After the report was written, there was one additional objection received from the public. A soils report was submitted pursuant to 43-2281 area. A revised report will be required after all regrading has been completed, certifying that usable area exists and addressing the deficiencies noted in the earlier statement. Plating staff recommends approval of the proposed Utopia View 2 based on 6 findings of fact and 9 recommendations of conditions of approval.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions from the board?
I had one question. I got a little bit lost in one of the documents where it talked about going from 42 lots down to 38 with some red lines. Can you give me a little bit more understanding of what that was about?
So in the soils report that was submitted most recently, apparently there was an error on the lot count and communication. That's one of the things that will have to be updated in the new soils report. I did confirm with the surveyor that the 42 was still the current count that is intended.
Thank you. Is the petitioner or petitioner's representative here and would like to speak? Okay. I'm going to open this for public hearing. Come forward. You can please state your name and write it in our book.
My name is Nikki Vlog. I live on the corner of Jack Nicholas and Arnold Palmer. And I would ask, I'll write my name real quick here. There we go. Get my... All righty. I would ask that this not be approved today. Jack Nicholas is a small road that goes through, it's just our little residential houses. And for that to be the only access road to now 2 subdivisions out there. Now, when they first put, I think it's called Utopia 1, we were a little concerned, us residents who definitely live on that road. And we were assured there would be also another access road, so we wouldn't be taking the bulk of all that traffic. And that access road didn't appear. In fact, several people on Jack Nicholas actually put their houses up for sale. Because the traffic is horrible. The construction traffic is horrible. There's little kids all over, and we have dump trucks and equipment and work trucks going through all day long. From early morning till evening, late evening. And I have talked to the city of Wasilla, and this was even before this came about. This is just the first one. I'm like, what can we do? It's horrible. They did put, I just came from the dentist, if I'm talking weird. My mouth is numb. So the city of Wasilla did put like a 3-way stop. There was already a 1 stop to try to slow traffic down, because it's a straight stretch. And I still say 50% of this construction equipment just blows through. Like I said, there's little kids, there's whatever. They're going 45 through there. And to think that now they're going to put in, 42 more lots? And if this is the only access road, if every house has 2 cars, hundreds going by our house. This was a cul-de-sac. And even the city said that this road was not built to have access to 2 totally other subdivisions. And, when I look at the map, it looks like it can't be that big a deal to put in at least one other access road from Church Road. You know, from now, they're going from Church Road onto Ben Hogan, and that's just a little subdivision road. Then you turn on Jack Nicholas and go clear down Jack Nicholas, which is a straight stretch, and believe me, people fly. And then it goes off into these two other subdivisions. And we can't deal with it. It's awful. It's awful every day. I live on the corner. And so I don't mind. Growth is awesome. And the subdivisions are beautiful. We take walks down there. That's not the issue. It's the access. Please give more access into these so we are not taking the brunt of this horrible, horrible traffic. So thank you. I hope you really consider, look at those maps, get us another access road so it's not all going in front of our little road. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else present that would like to speak? Seeing none, is there anyone online?
Madam Chair, there is no one online.
Okay, I'm closing public testimony. Would the petitioner like to speak?
Hello, Board. My name is Tendra Nicodemus Turner. I represent the surveying company Accutech and our petitioners. I would just like to say that we do understand and recognize the need for the second look at that upgrades to the city of Wasilla streets, and we are planning to commit to that. And we do agree to all conditions and agree to adhere to them. Thank you.
Questions from the board? Just out of curiosity, do you have any kind of timeline for when the road situation is going to be remedied?
We will be, excuse me, we will be contacting the city as soon as possible. Our engineer, Robert Walden, is in with the city of Wasilla. He is employed with them, and we will be speaking to him about those concerns.
I can't understand.
Our engineer, Robert Walden, will be helping us speak to the city of Wasilla about their concerns and how to address them in a manner that the public is happy with.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Salmon?
And just to clarify, City of Wasilla is requiring a Jack Nichols Drive upgrade. Is that the way I'm understanding it?
Correct.
Okay, so the concern of traffic flow would hopefully be addressed with that in the long, long run.
Correct. Short of the fact that we do not obtain or have any land onto Church Road to provide additional access, we will do everything in our power to physically do that.
And it sounds like City of Wasilla is getting ready to require that somehow on that Jack Nicholas. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion from the board? Ms. Salmon?
I move to approve the preliminary plat of Utopia View 2, Section 6, Township 17 North, Range 1 West, Seward Meridian, Alaska, contingent on staff recommendations 1 through 9. Is that right? I got my pages mixed up. Okay, that's my motion.
Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. Liebing. Discussion from the board. Mr. Liebing?
Well, I was just going to say, I certainly understand the concern of the resident, and an upgrade to Jack Nicholas won't necessarily do anything to reduce traffic on the road, but potentially widen it and making it a little safer. I thought I saw a condition that said if it was not going to be possible with land acquisition or something, that the city of Wasilla would then could demand an alternative access. Did I understand that correctly from the city?
Mr. Goddard?
So that condition was actually if they could not certify it to the standard that they are requesting, then they can offer up traffic mitigation options to help slow down and resolve some of the traffic issues. It's not necessarily acquiring another access point.
Gotcha.
It's just working with what they have.
Thank you. I guess my thought is that we are limited in the things that we can require as a platting board, but it would certainly, I think, behoove you and your neighbors to really open a dialogue with the city of Wasilla, because it appears that they really are the organization that has the power to change the rules regarding access.
Thank you, Mr. Liebing. Any other comments? Ms. Salmon?
I was gonna just ask if, and I don't know that the city of Wasilla would require that or not, but it looks like there might be additional access planned to the, what would it be, west, kind of northwest corner there off of Joan Drive or whatever, up to Spruce, potentially in the long run. I guess my question is, who would be the one to decide to bring the road down? Would that have to be the borough or the city to come south off of Spruce and hit that Jones Road right here? Would that be a borough call, or would that be a city of Wasilla decision to spend that money? I don't think it would be the developer.
Mr. Wagner, you want to tackle that one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fred Wagner, Planning Officer. Seeing as this property is not part of this subdivision, the owners do not own the property or have rights to it, and we do not have the powers to condemn property like that, so it would not be for us to make that comment at this time.
Is that not a section line that runs between what's that, parcel B6 and B1 and B3 and B10?
No, it is not.
Any further comment? Questions? Seeing none. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. There's no other items of business. Platting staff comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fred Wagner, Planning Officer. We have 2 cases to be heard at the July 3rd meeting. We will also have the presentation that was requested a few months ago to give on that date. So, Ms. Smith, do you have anything?
Yes, we have a District 3 person appointed, so they should be attending next meeting.
Thank you. Board comments?
I don't know if I'll be able to make the July 3rd meeting. I've had some pretty heavy familial obligations that week. So I don't know. I mean, I would try, but I would say right now I'd probably miss it. If that's okay. If I could be excused.
And I also will need to be excused July 3rd, working
no.
with the city of Willow with 4th of July activities, getting prepped.
Also, I would say thank you for the education from the staff. I feel like I get a college credit every time I come in here. Thanks for the time, extra time.
What presentation are you talking?
There was a request for a presentation explaining several items that the Platting Board were concerned about, comp plans, vacations, and variances.
Fred, do you have any anticipation on how long that training will be?
I do not. It shouldn't half hour, an hour maybe. It's going to be a PowerPoint presentation. I'll stand up there and present.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I am adjourning this meeting at 2 p.m.